Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, where OP discovers that all of our friends are actually racist. Will I be the butthole if I dropped out as a bridesmaid a week before the wedding because of what happened at the bachelorettes? So I'm a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding. She just had a bachelorette party at the groom's family cabin for 2 nights. It started off okay, but as the attendants got more and more drunk, the racism and anti-Semitism started coming out. For context, everyone else in the wedding party is white. I'm mixed Jewish and Filipina. My part of the party was to put on a tea party in the afternoon. I spent weeks hand-decorating a tea set as a wedding present. Weddings are huge in my culture, and I wanted to share that joy. I bought and cooked a bunch of my cultural food, but the basic stuff that even Western people would like lumpia, baked desserts, and skyflakes with cheese and meat. I, of course, checked with the bride and maid of honor beforehand, and both of them said that would be okay, with the bride saying that she loved lumpia. I was so proud of it, and it looked beautiful all set up. But immediately, some of the bridal party started making the ew, ethnic food faces. One of them chased another around with a sweet bun, laughing about how weird and scary it was. It was literally bread and cream. I sent pictures of the setup to my other friends to see if something I did was wrong, and everyone said that it looked amazing. To be clear, people did say thank you, including the bride. They said the setup was very pretty. It was the reaction to the food by some of them, the family of the groom who also made Auschwitz jokes, that I was describing. That being said, almost nobody spoke during the tea party portion and blamed it on being tired. The bride and friends didn't say anything about the reactions of the other girls. The main feedback I got was that I was clearly a witch because my tea put everyone to sleep. The tea was hibiscus, rose, mint, and calamansi mix. But oh well, maybe the food isn't for them. I moved on. But then the racist jokes started. The party started on Juneteenth, and you can imagine the jokes that came out of that. Then, anti-Semitic jokes about Holocaust camps and more. This is a direct quote. I say a lot of Nazi and Holocaust jokes for someone who isn't racist. I was trapped on a boat with this person when these jokes started happening. Later that night, as I was grabbing something from a room to then leave, the main perpetrator said to someone I considered a close friend, I was worried you'd be offended by the Auschwitz jokes because you're German. That friend replied that she wasn't offended. I spoke up, well, I might be offended because I'm Jewish. I got up to leave with my stuff and the girl said, she's going back to Auschwitz. Jeez Louise. My friend, the bride, and everyone laughed. I went outside and I cried. They saw me from the window when they all came to eat food. Not a single one of my friends came to check on me. The vibes continued along that line, and I felt like I was in the Jewish/Asian version of Get Out, stuck in a giant home with a bunch of racist white people. But honestly, the fear from it wasn't the worst part. It was that not a single one of my friends said anything. I then was in a 4-hour car ride with one of those friends/bridesmaids on the way home. She spent the last hour of it lecturing me about how she's someone who can be cordial around people she doesn't agree with, but not everyone has that skill, especially when it's personal. And that you need to put yourself in other people's shoes and see that they have positive intentions, and more. For context, the cabin was 4 hours away, and I have a pretty moderate disability. I was using 110% of my energy for this, and had no energy left by the end of it. I pushed myself to extremes for these friends and the bride, and it was reciprocated with laughing and anti-Semitic jokes at my expense. The wedding is next weekend. I can barely see from the migraine I have, and my legs are struggling with walking. I don't feel it's worth it to hurt myself for someone who couldn't bother to stand up for me, or even check on me after. All of my friends of color agree with me, but this was my high school friend group, and I also felt guilty, like I'm letting them down. I'm not quite sure what to do, so Reddit, please help me out. OP, man, okay. I feel like one of the problems with the world and with people is that we're taught our entire lives to be good people. And the ironic thing is that good people who have genuinely good hearts, they follow that advice and they try not to cause trouble for other people. They try not to insult people. They try to show people empathy and use the golden rule. But bad people do not follow that advice, and they do not grow up to be good people. So when bad people make good people suffer, sometimes those good people can be like, I don't want to make trouble for other people. I want to be nice and respectful because I have a good heart and I've been taught to, treat people with respect. So I don't know what to do here because, I want to be kind to these people. But that's like a tragic failure of the golden rule, where when other people break the golden rule, you shouldn't, turn the other cheek. You should just cut them out of your life or return the same energy. Or just say, screw you and leave or whatever. You can't always be nice all the time. Sometimes you just have to be mean to people who are mean to you. So, OP, you seem like a genuinely kind, sweet person who's perhaps a bit too kind, and you're letting people trample over you in a really fundamentally disrespectful way. So I think you should cut these people out of your lives. I don't even know why you call them friends, considering you're Jewish and they're making Auschwitz jokes. I mean, ugh. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving them 3 out of 5 buttholes. It's okay, I gotta point out this ironic point. OP kinda defends the bride because the bride didn't directly make Auschwitz jokes, but she also didn't speak up about the Auschwitz jokes. And I can't help but notice this is very similar to that famous poem about the Holocaust. I had to look up the poem. I'll read it out. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Will I be the butthole if I divorce my wife because she doesn't want me actively involved in raising our children? My wife and I, 31 and 32, have been together since college, and we've been married for 7 years. We have 3 children together, and I'm sick of either having to step back and let her raise the kids almost as a single mom, or fight with her because I did something with our children, even something as simple as feeding them. But that's where I'm at. She wasn't like this when our oldest was born. It started when she was pregnant with our twins. She would always tell me to tidy or run some errands when I wanted to spend time with our child. Then she would keep him by her side the entire day, or she would go off somewhere if I said that we should all spend the day together and focus on our oldest. But when the twins came, it was worse. Every time I went to feed or change a baby, she was telling me to go back to bed or to run to the store or something. Whenever she caught me holding and doing anything with one of our kids, it was like I was committing a crime. When I'd ask her what the issue was, she said there was nothing, but I should just make myself useful, even if I was doing that. One time, she was on the phone talking to her sister, so I put our oldest to bed and got the twins fed. She freaked out and yelled at me for doing it without her. I told her it wasn't like I went off schedule and she was busy. She said that wasn't the point. Then came the fights about me trying to be with the kids instead of working or running errands. When I took time off, I would make sure I got time with the kids, and she'd be ready for a fight, and if I didn't let a fight happen, she'd yell at me anyways. Whenever I didn't push through, she'd find a way to keep the kids from me. I told her it bothered me, and she said that it was all in my head. Another time, she accused me of trying to hog the kids, even though I hadn't been home all day. She hated when I carried the baby. I was screamed at for picking the kids up from her parents' house one day. She was at an appointment and I was getting out of work, so I thought it made sense. But she told me she decided to leave them with her parents, so I should respect that, and I told her I was just as capable of taking care of them as her. She was hospitalized briefly a couple of months ago, and that's when I reached the point of like, F this, we should divorce. I took some days off work so I could be with the kids, and she kept telling me to go back to work and let the kids stay with her parents until she got home. And she was screaming at me while she was in the hospital because I had the kids. She sent her parents to try to take them off me twice. When she recovered, I told her this couldn't continue. And if this was the way things would be, we should divorce. And she screamed and said that I would be a butthole to destroy our family and break up our kids' stability. Even my own parents told me I should find a way to make it work. But she won't even sit down and talk to me. therapy is out of the question on her part. And I don't want the kids to see us fight every time I interact with even one of them. Will I be the butthole for divorce? I checked OP's post history to see if there's any kind of update because I'm dying to know what this woman's problem is. A lot of wives would kill to have their husband more involved. So I don't understand why she's so uptight about it. Anyways, OP, I totally understand your viewpoint here. It kind of seems like the only way you're ever going to be able to spend time with your kids is if a court orders it. So yeah, I think divorce might be the best option here, unfortunately. Your wife is really something else. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your wife, I think, 3 out of 5 buttholes. I'm not sure. It's more weird than butthole-y. I'm not really sure. It's just really weird. I don't understand what her angle is or what her goal is. There's clearly some underlying belief or issue or like control problem, and until that's settled, this is just going to be an ongoing issue. Am I the butthole for refusing to give my coworker their office back now that work from home has been canceled? Back in 2023, this woman named Jen in my building left for maternity leave. After having her child, Jen took advantage of our company's work from home program, which left her office open. I placed in a request for that space with my manager, and I was given the go. So I got to leave my sucky cubicle for my very own private office. My employer has announced that work from home will end. All employees are to be back in the office by that date. Yeah, that sucks, I know. Yesterday, work from home employees came in for tours and desk assignments. When Jen saw that I was in her office, she became agitated and asked if I'd be leaving so she could take it back over. I told her flatly that I had no intent of giving up that office. Jen spoke with a manager about this, and management's immediate decision was that I was under no obligation to move out of the office. I was approached and asked if I had any interest in returning to a cubicle. I said no, and there was no follow-up from my manager or HR as they both see the matter as closed. Now, just a day later, I'm getting stink from coworkers who think I'm punishing Jen for something outside of her control. Jen has also emailed me asking me to consider the position she's in and that she's already being punished by the company by being compelled to return to the building, and asking me to consider her feelings. Sincerely, I definitely understand how much this sucks for her and everyone else being forced to come back, but I like having my own office. I have a lot of stuff in there that I'd otherwise have to carry back home. I'd be giving up the privacy that I've now become accustomed to. And if I'm being honest, I enjoy actually having a nice window to look out and none of the noise of the cubicles. Am I the butthole on this one? Jen sounds pretty entitled to me. Even grade schoolers know this rule. Move your feet, lose your seat. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for not claiming my husband's speeding ticket, which caused him to lose his license? My husband got a speeding ticket for going 28 kilometers per hour over the speed limit in a 50 kilometer per hour zone. Because cameras catch only the license plate, he could claim that someone else was driving. That person would then get an email notification, and if accepted, the fine would go to them. The catch is that he had under 2 years of driving experience. Therefore, for such violations, he had to go to some extra classes. He's asking me to write that ticket on myself because I have 2+ years of driving experience. And it would only be a small fine for me as I had not had any other violations on record. I, however, refused because I hate when people speed. I didn't want such violations on my record, and I didn't want to make a habit of it. Eventually, he failed to show up to those classes within the given year, and now he has to retake his driving exam, both theory and practice. He's very angry at me for multiple days now, saying it's my fault. I stood my ground because I didn't know that he would fail to go to the classes and lose his license. Am I the butthole? So your husband speeds and then doesn't go to the classes, and that's your fault somehow? It sounds like your husband needs to go to these classes. He wouldn't be in trouble if he just stopped speeding. This moron literally had an entire year to fix this problem and then dragged his feet and blames his wife. OP, I'm sorry you're married to such a doofus. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your husband gets 2.5 out of 5 buttholes. That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.